The Silent Conquest. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the Earth Defense Force flagship Prometheus, watching as another Meridian trade vessel departed Earth's orbit. The alien ship's crystalline structure gleamed in the sunlight, its holds full of fairly traded resources from humanity's outer colonies. Chen's expression remained carefully neutral, even as her fingers tightened imperceptibly on the datapad she held. Another successful transaction, Admiral, announced Commander James Rodriguez, his voice carrying just the right note of eager subservience that the Meridians had come to expect from humans. The collective's representative seemed quite pleased with our cooperation. "Of course they are," Chen replied, allowing a touch of resignation to color her tone. "We're such good little primitives, aren't we? Always grateful for their technological scraps, always willing to sign away mining rights for a glimpse of their advanced graviton technology." The bridge crew maintained their practiced poses of deference until the Meridian ship jumped to FTL. Only then did the masks fall away, replaced by expressions of grim determination. "Status of Operation Ghost?" Chen asked, turning to face her crew. Rodriguez's posture straightened, all traces of submission vanishing. "The quantum trackers are functioning perfectly, Admiral. Every trade ship that's visited in the past 5 years has been tagged. We now have a complete map of their primary supply routes and military installations." Chen nodded, activating the bridge's secure holographic display. A 3-dimensional map of known space materialized, with thousands of tiny points of light representing Meridian vessels and facilities. To any outside observer, the display would have appeared far beyond humanity's supposed technological capabilities. "And our other projects. The Neptune shipyards report that the final batch of Phantom-class vessels is complete," Rodriguez reported, "all equipped with our latest quantum drives and neural-linked AI systems. The Meridians still think we're struggling with basic fusion technology." Chen allowed herself a small smile. For 50 years, humanity had maintained an elaborate charade. While openly displaying only modest technological progress, Earth's best minds had worked in secret, pushing the boundaries of physics and computer science far beyond what the Meridian Collective believed possible. The quantum computing breakthrough had come first, followed by true artificial intelligence. Then came the development of consciousness transfer technology, allowing human pilots to merge directly with their ship systems. Each advancement was carefully hidden behind a facade of primitive spaceflight and basic energy weapons. "Tell me about the Meridian outpost in the Proxima system," Chen said, zooming the display to humanity's nearest stellar neighbor. "They've begun construction of another trading post," Rodriguez replied, his voice thick with irony. "Our deep space sensors confirm it's actually a forward military base. They're not even trying to hide their intentions anymore." "Why should they?" Chen's voice was cold. "To them, we're just another primitive species to be exploited and discarded. The collective has done this dozens of times before, bleeding developing civilizations dry before moving on to the next target." She walked to her command chair, settling into it with practiced ease. "What they don't realize is that humanity learned from history. We saw how powerful empires fell because they underestimated their primitive opponents. We studied how hubris and technological stagnation led to their downfall." The bridge crew watched their admiral intently, knowing they were witnessing the culmination of decades of preparation. "The Meridians believe they've seen everything humanity has to offer," Chen continued. "They think they understand our capabilities, our limits. Their anthropologists have classified us, their strategists have dismissed us, and their leaders have already decided our fate." She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "But they've never seen our true face. They don't know about the quantum AI networks that span our colonies or the consciousness-linked pilot corps who can outmaneuver any of their ships. They haven't discovered our zero-point energy weapons or our phase-shift defense systems. Latest intelligence suggests they're planning to accelerate their exploitation timeline," Rodriguez added. "The Collective's Council voted yesterday to begin unrestricted resource extraction from all human-claimed systems." Chen's smile turned predatory. "Perfect. They're moving exactly as predicted. She turned to her communications officer. Send the signal to all Ghost Protocol assets. Operation Checkmate begins in 72 hours. Around the bridge, officers moved with quiet efficiency, each performing their role in humanity's long-planned revelation. Deep within secure facilities across Earth and its colonies, advanced warships powered up their quantum drives. AI networks that had been gathering data for decades began their final analysis runs. Special operations teams that had trained in secret for years received their activation codes. What do you think they'll do? Rodriguez asked quietly, when they realize we've been playing them all along. Chen's gaze returned to the viewport, where the last traces of the Meridian vessel's FTL wake were fading. They'll react exactly as every overconfident empire in history has reacted, with disbelief, then denial, then panic. By then, it will be too late. She stood, addressing her crew with quiet intensity. For 50 years, we've watched them strip our outer colonies. We've smiled and bowed while they talked down to us, thinking we were too primitive to understand their contempt. We've studied their weaknesses, mapped their vulnerabilities, and prepared our response. The holographic display shifted, showing the thousands of tagged Meridian ships going about their daily routines, completely unaware of the quantum trackers hidden in their hulls. Now, Chen said, we show them exactly what humanity is capable of when pushed too far. The countdown to Operation Checkmate had begun. Operation Checkmate. The Meridian High Command Central Monitoring Facility on Axios Prime was considered impregnable. Its quantum crystalline walls rose 2 kilometers into the violet sky, housing the most sophisticated sensor network in known space. From this facility, the collective tracked every registered spacecraft in their sphere of influence. Senior observer Kexri stood at his post, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the soft light of countless holographic displays. To him, the facility represented the collective's absolute dominion over lesser species. Every ship movement, every resource transfer, every technological advancement was monitored and controlled. Another human vessel requesting trade clearance, his subordinate reported with characteristic disdain. Primitive chemical drives, minimal shielding. Shall I grant them access to the designated lanes? Kexri's mandibles clicked in amusement. Let them wait. It's good to remind these species of their place in the natural order. The words had barely left his mouth when every display in the facility suddenly went dark. Report, Kexri demanded, his crystalline fragments bristling with alarm. Unknown system failure, his technical staff reported, their movements becoming increasingly frantic. We're detecting. Impossible. We're detecting quantum-level intrusions across all networks. In that moment, thousands of previously invisible ships dropped their phase-shift cloaking across Meridian space. The primitive human vessel requesting clearance transformed as its holographic disguise dissolved, revealing the sleek warship of advanced design. Aboard the EDF Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched as Operation Checkmate began. Status report, she commanded. Quantum AI network has successfully penetrated Meridian defense systems, Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. All tagged vessels are now under our control. Phase 1 complete. Chen nodded, remembering the decades of careful preparation that had led to this moment. Every trading vessel the Meridians had allowed into their space had carried microscopic quantum computers, gradually building an invisible network throughout their territory. Their arrogance had been their undoing. They'd never bothered to scan for technology they believed humans incapable of creating. Begin Phase 2, Chen ordered. Broadcast on all Meridian frequencies. Throughout collective space, on every Meridian communication channel, Admiral Chen's image appeared. Gone was the submissive posture and deferential tone they were accustomed to. She stood straight, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's accumulated strength. Attention Meridian Collective. For 50 years, you have systematically exploited Earth and its colonies, believing us too primitive to resist. That ends today. Every ship in your space is now tagged with our quantum trackers. Every military installation has been mapped. Every defense network has been compromised. In the Axios Prime facility, Kexri watched in growing horror as human warships appeared from nowhere, their technology far beyond anything the collective had believed possible. The supposedly primitive species had somehow developed phase-shift cloaking, quantum computing, and weapons systems that made Meridian technology look crude by comparison. "Your choice is simple," Chen continued. "Cease all military operations immediately and prepare to renegotiate all existing treaties, or we will be forced to demonstrate exactly how far humanity has advanced while you weren't watching." The Meridian High Council convened an emergency session, their usual pomp and ceremony forgotten in the face of this unprecedented crisis. High Commander Vexthor, leader of the Collective's military forces, addressed the panicked assembly. "Impossible," he declared. "These are tricks, holograms meant to frighten us. No species could advance so quickly without detection." As if in response to his words, every Meridian warship in space suddenly powered down, their control systems overridden by humanity's quantum network. Defense platforms went dark, weapon systems deactivated. In the space of a few minutes, the mighty Meridian Collective had been rendered defenseless. On Earth, in a secure facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Maya Patel watched as her life's work came to fruition. The quantum AI she had helped develop was performing perfectly, its consciousness-level processing power enabling it to bypass Meridian cyber defenses as if they were primitive firewalls. Dr. Patel, one of her team, reported, "The Meridians are attempting to regain control of their systems. Their approach is interesting." Maya smiled. "They're still thinking in terms of traditional computing. They don't understand that our quantum AI doesn't just process faster. It operates on fundamentally different principles." In Meridian space, the situation continued to deteriorate for the Collective. Their attempts to regain control of their ships and facilities proved futile against humanity's quantum-based systems. Each counterattack was anticipated and neutralized before it could begin. "How?" Kexri whispered, watching as centuries of Meridian technological superiority crumbled. "How did we not see this coming?" The answer, of course, was pride. The Collective had been so certain of their superiority, so convinced of their ability to control and exploit lesser species, that they had failed to consider the possibility of being outmaneuvered. They had watched humanity's apparent struggles with basic technology and seen exactly what humans had wanted them to see. Aboard the Prometheus, Chen received the first desperate communication from the Meridian High Council. "They're requesting terms," Admiral Rodriguez reported. "Send them our preliminary requirements," Chen ordered. "Full withdrawal from all human space, return of all resources taken under coercion, recognition of Earth's sovereign territory, and most importantly, a complete restructuring of how the Collective interacts with developing civilizations. And if they refuse," Chen's expression hardened, "then we demonstrate exactly what our quantum weapons can do to their supposedly impregnable fortresses. The age of Meridian exploitation ends today, one way or another." As the ultimatum was delivered, humanity's fleet remained in position, their advanced ships a stark reminder of how completely the Collective had underestimated their capabilities. The quantum AI network maintained its grip on Meridian systems, preventing any possibility of a surprise counterattack. In the coming hours, the galaxy would witness something unprecedented: the complete subordination of a superior interstellar power, not through violence, but through careful planning, technological innovation, and the element of surprise. Humanity had turned the Collective's own arrogance into a weapon, using their dismissive attitude as cover for 50 years of secret advancement. The message to other spacefaring civilizations was clear: underestimate humanity at your own risk. The awakening. The grand chamber of the Meridian High Council had lost its luster. Gone were the ornate displays of power and the casual demonstrations of technological superiority that had once impressed visiting species. Now the crystalline walls seemed dim, their usual iridescent glow dulled by the weight of recent events. Supreme Chancellor Zixtal, leader of the Meridian Collective, faced the emergency session with uncharacteristic humility. The quantum displays around the chamber showed real-time footage of human warships maintaining their positions throughout collective space, their presence a constant reminder of how completely they had been outmaneuvered. "The humans demand reparations," Zixtal announced, his voice carrying none of its usual authority. "Not just for resources taken, but for 50 years of systematic exploitation across their colonial territories." High Commander Vexthor, his crystalline form darkened with stress fractures, raised himself to speak. "Surely we're not considering capitulation. These upstarts, regardless of their technological tricks, cannot be allowed to." Tricks. The word came from Analyst First Class Myra, her liquid crystal form rippling with agitation. "I've completed my analysis of their quantum AI network. It's not a trick, Commander. It's not even technology as we understand it." She gestured, and a new hologram appeared in the chamber center. "Their artificial intelligence operates on principles we thought theoretically impossible. It doesn't just process information faster than our systems. It exists in a quantum state that allows it to perceive and react to possibilities before they occur." In orbit above Earth, Dr. Maya Patel was explaining these same principles to Admiral Chen. The two women stood in the Prometheus's quantum computing core, surrounded by crystalline structures that bore a superficial resemblance to Meridian technology, but functioned on vastly different principles. "The beauty of it," Maya explained, her eyes alight with scientific passion, "is that they never considered quantum consciousness as a possibility. They developed quantum computing, yes, but always within the framework of their existing technological paradigms." Chen nodded, watching the swirling patterns that represented the AI's thought processes. "And that's why they can't regain control of their systems. Because our AI doesn't just hack their networks, it exists within them." "Exactly. Their security systems are looking for intrusions moving at light speed through conventional channels. Our quantum AI exists in a state of quantum superposition throughout their entire network. It's everywhere and nowhere, making decisions based on probability states they can't even detect." Back in the Meridian High Council, the implications of humanity's technological leap were causing widespread panic. Reports were flooding in from across collective space as other species began to question Meridian authority. The careful hierarchy of galactic civilization, maintained through technological superiority and carefully controlled advancement, was crumbling. "The Arcturus Federation is demanding an explanation," an aide reported nervously. "They're asking how we could have missed such significant technological development in a primitive species. The Centaurian Alliance is suggesting a review of all their trading agreements with us." Zixtal's crystalline form dimmed further. The collective's power had always been based on the careful control of technological advancement among other species. They monitored, they restricted, they exploited, all while maintaining the illusion of benevolent guidance. Now that illusion was shattered. On the edges of human space, the situation was developing in unexpected ways. Captain Sarah Rodriguez, Commander Rodriguez's sister, watched from the bridge of the EDF Hyperion as a fleet of ships dropped out of FTL nearby. But they weren't Meridian vessels. "Multiple contacts," her sensor officer reported. "Signatures match, sir. They're from other developing species. The Proxians, the Centauri, even some Arcturus ships. They're requesting communication." The message that came through was clear. How had humanity done it? How had they advanced so far while under Meridian observation? The implications were staggering. If one species could do it, perhaps others could too. In her office beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Maya Patel received a priority communication from Admiral Chen. "The quantum AI network is detecting increased activity in deep Meridian space," Chen reported. "They're activating dormant shipyards, pulling resources from their core worlds. They may be preparing for a counterattack." Maya smiled. "Let them try. Every piece of Meridian technology they activate gives our AI more nodes to exist within. They still don't understand. They're not fighting our weapons. They're fighting against a new form of consciousness that exists within their own systems. The Meridian High Council was reaching the same conclusion. Analyst Myra's latest report had caused consternation among the leadership. The humans didn't just develop better technology, she explained. They developed it along a completely different path than we expected. While we watched for advancements in conventional physics and engineering, they were exploring quantum consciousness and artificial intelligence that operates outside normal spacetime. Then we must adapt, Vexthor declared. If they can develop such technology, surely we can. It's not that simple, Myra interrupted. Their advancement wasn't just technological, it was philosophical. They approached the problem from angles we never considered because our own technological development had made us rigid in our thinking. We assumed our way was the only way. In Earth orbit, Admiral Chen received reports of growing unrest throughout Meridian space. The collective's carefully maintained hierarchy was dissolving as other species began to question centuries of control and exploitation. They're running out of options, Rodriguez observed. Their choice now is between accepting our terms or risking total collapse of their authority. Chen's expression remained carefully neutral. And that's what makes them dangerous. A cornered empire is unpredictable. Have all ships maintained quantum shield coverage? If they're going to try something desperate, it will be soon. She was right. In the depths of Meridian space, in facilities even humanity's quantum eye hadn't detected, the collective was preparing a response that would either restore their dominion or tear the galaxy apart in the attempt. The awakening of humanity's true power was complete. The question now was, how far would the Meridians go to maintain their position in the galaxy, and what price would everyone pay for their desperation? Desperate measures. Deep within the Meridian core worlds, in a facility that existed in no official record, High Commander Vexthor stood before a weapon that should never have been built. The chamber stretched for kilometers, its crystalline walls containing something that defied conventional physics, a tear in spacetime itself. The void cascade is ready, his chief scientist reported, her crystalline form vibrating with barely contained fear. But, Commander, the consequences of using such a weapon are acceptable, Vexthor interrupted. The collective has maintained order in this galaxy for 10,000 years. We will not let that end because one primitive species got lucky with their technological development. On Earth, Dr. Maya Patel jolted awake in her quantum lab. The AI networks were screaming warnings, detecting disturbances in spacetime that shouldn't have been possible. Admiral Chen, she called, her voice tight with urgency. The quantum network is detecting something wrong. The Meridians are doing something with fundamental forces that could destabilize entire regions of space. Aboard the Prometheus, Chen received the warning with growing concern. The quantum eye was projecting possible outcomes, and none of them were good. Explain it to me, Doctor. What exactly are we dealing with? They're attempting to weaponize spacetime itself, Maya replied. Our quantum sensors are detecting artificial gravity wells forming throughout their territory. They're creating tears in reality that could propagate uncontrollably. They wouldn't, Rodriguez interjected. Even the Meridians aren't that desperate. This could affect their own worlds as much as ours. That's exactly why we need to stop them, Chen said grimly. Patch me through to the Meridian High Council. Now. But in the secret facility, Vexthor had already moved beyond the point of negotiation. The void cascade hummed with impossible energies, its effects beginning to ripple through spacetime. Throughout human and Meridian space, ships began detecting gravitational anomalies that defied known physics. Multiple spacetime distortions detected, reported Sarah Rodriguez from the Hyperion. They're spreading faster than light speed, affecting everything in their path. Sir, they're heading toward populated systems. The quantum AI network projected the devastation. Worlds torn apart by gravitational forces, entire solar systems collapsed into artificial black holes, a chain reaction that could render large portions of the galaxy uninhabitable. In her lab, Maya Patel worked frantically with her team. the quantum AI providing processing power as they searched for a solution. The Meridians are using borrowed technology, she realized. These gravity weapons, they're based on principles they found in ancient ruins. They don't fully understand what they're dealing with. Can we stop it? Chen demanded. Maybe. The quantum AI exists partly outside normal spacetime. If we can use it to stabilize the tears. Maya's fingers flew over her console. But we'll need more processing power than we've ever attempted. We'll need to extend the quantum network to its absolute limits. Throughout human space, quantum computing cores began powering up to maximum capacity. The AI network expanded, its consciousness spreading through reality itself as it attempted to counter the Meridian weapons' effects. In the Meridian facility, Vexthor watched with satisfaction as the first gravitational waves propagated outward. His satisfaction turned to confusion, then horror, as the waves began behaving in ways his scientists hadn't predicted. The humans, his chief scientist gasped. They're using their quantum network to alter the fundamental properties of spacetime itself. They're rewriting the laws of physics within the affected regions. The battle that followed wasn't fought with ships or conventional weapons. It was a war between competing versions of reality. The Meridians attempting to tear space apart, humanity's quantum AI working to knit it back together. On Earth, Maya's team worked to their limits, interfacing with the AI network as it fought against the cascading tears in spacetime. The network is evolving, she reported, her voice filled with wonder. It's developing new quantum states we never imagined possible. It's not just fighting the weapon. It's learning to manipulate reality at the same level. In orbit, Shen watched as her fleet held position, unable to assist in a battle being fought on a quantum level. The space around them rippled with competing gravitational forces as two civilizations wielded powers that bordered on the divine. Status of civilian populations, she demanded. Quantum shields are holding, Rodriguez reported. The AI network is prioritizing protection of inhabited systems. But Admiral, something's happening to the Meridian core worlds. The displays showed it clearly. The void cascade was proving impossible for even its creators to control. As humanity's quantum AI worked to contain the damage, the weapon's effects were being reflected back toward their point of origin. In his facility, Vexthor watched in mounting horror as the gravitational tears began to affect Meridian space. Their crystalline cities, their mighty fortresses, their supposedly impregnable worlds, all were now threatened by their own desperate gambit. Shut it down, he ordered, but his scientists could only stare helplessly at their controls. We can't, they reported. The human's quantum network has altered the fundamental forces we were trying to manipulate. The cascade is becoming self-sustaining. Throughout Meridian space, the message spread. Their leadership's final attempt to maintain dominion had backfired catastrophically. Only humanity's quantum AI network stood between them and total destruction. Admiral Chen received the transmission she had been waiting for, a desperate plea from the Meridian High Council, not for negotiations this time, but for help. The weapon is going to destroy everything. Supreme Chancellor Zixtel's message said, not just human space, not just Meridian space, but potentially the entire sector. We need your help to stop it. Chen looked to Maya's holographic image. Can we? The scientist nodded slowly. The quantum AI has evolved beyond our original parameters. It's learned to manipulate spacetime in ways we never programmed. But to stop the cascade completely, we'll need access to the weapon facility itself. We'll need the Meridians to surrender completely, to give us direct access to their most secret technologies. Chen turned back to the communications display. Chancellor, we'll help you. But this time, our terms are non-negotiable. The age of Meridian dominion is over. The only question is whether your civilization will survive to be part of what comes next. As the quantum AI network fought to contain the growing spacetime distortions, the galaxy held its breath. The outcome would determine not just the fate of two civilizations, but the very nature of reality in this sector of space. A new dawn. The Meridian weapon facility's crystalline walls pulsed with chaotic energies as Maya Patel stepped through its main entrance, accompanied by a joint team of human and Meridian scientists. Above them, reality itself seemed to bend and twist as the Void Cascade continued its destructive work. "The quantum AI is maintaining containment," Maya reported to Admiral Chen, who watched through a secure quantum link. "But we're working against time. The space-time distortions are becoming self-reinforcing." The facility's original research team huddled in corners, their crystalline forms dulled with exhaustion and fear. High Commander Vexthor stood under guard, his proud bearing finally broken by the magnitude of his mistake. "The weapon's cord is through here," he said quietly, leading them to the central chamber. "We found the principles in ruins left by the precursors. We thought we understood them. We were wrong." The chamber they entered defied conventional physics. At its center, a tear in reality swirled with impossible colors, its edges bleeding gravitational forces that threatened to tear apart the fabric of spacetime. Maya immediately began setting up quantum interface nodes around the chamber, creating a direct link between the facility and humanity's AI network. "The precursors," she said as she worked. "They weren't trying to create a weapon, were they?" The Meridian chief scientist shook her head. "No. We believe now they were attempting to create a way to stabilize spacetime itself, to prevent natural tears from forming. We perverted their work." In orbit above Earth, Admiral Chen watched through the quantum link as Maya's team worked. The displays showed the spread of gravitational distortions continuing throughout nearby space, held in check only by the constant efforts of the quantum AI. "Status of civilian evacuations," she asked Rodriguez. "All threatened systems have been cleared to safe distance," he reported. "The Arcturus Federation and Centaurian Alliance are providing assistance. It seems the Meridian's actions have united much of the galaxy against them." Maya's voice came through the quantum link, tight with concentration. "Admiral, we're ready to attempt stabilization. The quantum AI has evolved a new approach. It's not just going to stop the cascade, it's going to repurpose it." "Repurpose it?" Chen's voice held a note of concern. "Explain." "The precursor's original design," Maya said, her hands moving across quantum interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. "They weren't trying to tear space apart. They were trying to create a network of stabilized spacetime, a way to bind the galaxy together." In the chamber, the quantum AI's presence became almost physical as it extended itself through the Meridian facility. The tear in reality began to change, its chaotic energies shifting into new patterns. "The AI is rewriting the fundamental forces at play," Maya explained. "Instead of tearing reality apart, it's creating quantum-linked regions of spacetime, stable corridors through which ships could travel instantly, through which information could flow faster than light." Throughout nearby space, the destructive gravitational waves began to transform. Where they had been tearing reality apart, they now began weaving it together in new ways. The quantum AI, having evolved beyond its original parameters, was turning a weapon of mass destruction into something entirely new. Supreme Chancellor Zixtal, watching from the Meridian High Council chamber, finally understood the full magnitude of how badly they had underestimated humanity. "They're not just more advanced than we thought," he said to his assembled counselors. "They think differently. Where we saw a weapon, they saw possibility. Where we tried to destroy, they choose to create." The transformation spread through space. The quantum AI network, now integrated with the precursor technology, was establishing a new underlying structure to reality itself. Ships in flight found themselves able to communicate instantly across vast distances. Worlds that had been isolated by the vast gulfs of space were suddenly connected by stable quantum corridors. In the facility, Maya watched in awe as her creation exceeded every expectation. "The AI isn't just stopping the cascade," she reported. "It's using it as a template to reshape how space-time works in this part of the galaxy." The precursors, this must have been their ultimate goal. Not weapons, not power, but connection. Admiral Chen received reports from across human and meridian space as the effects became clear. The quantum network was creating a new kind of interstellar civilization, one where distance itself became less relevant, where communication and travel between worlds could happen almost instantaneously. The Meridian Collective's power was based on controlling access to advanced technology, she observed. But this makes such control impossible. You can't maintain an empire based on technological superiority when every world is connected through quantum spacetime. The implications rippled through galactic civilization. The careful hierarchies of power that had defined interstellar relations for millennia were being rendered obsolete. In their place, a new order was emerging, one based on cooperation and shared access to the quantum network. In the facility, High Commander Vexthor watched as his weapon of last resort was transformed into something he could barely comprehend. "What happens now?" he asked quietly. Maya looked up from her work, her expression serious. "Now we all learn to live in a galaxy where no species can dominate another through technological superiority, where knowledge and innovation are shared through the quantum network, not hoarded and weaponized." The process took hours to complete, but when it was done, the galaxy had been transformed. The quantum network had stabilized, creating permanent links between worlds that had once been separated by vast distances. The void cascade, once a threat to all existence, had become the foundation of a new way of living among the stars. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching as the new quantum corridors became visible to their sensors, stable pathways through space-time that would allow instant travel and communication between worlds. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "Operation Checkmate is complete, but the outcome is something none of us could have predicted. We didn't just stop the Meridians, we've helped create something entirely new." The message that went out to all worlds, human and alien alike, was simple. The age of empires was over. The age of connection had begun. In the quantum computing core of the Prometheus, the AI that had evolved so far beyond its original programming continued its work, maintaining the new structure of reality it had helped create. It had learned from both humanity's creativity and the precursor's wisdom, combining them into something that would change life in the galaxy forever. The dawn of this new age brought with it challenges and opportunities that no one, human or Meridian, could have foreseen. But it also brought hope. Hope that in a galaxy where all worlds were connected, where knowledge flowed freely through quantum corridors, the old cycles of domination and exploitation might finally be broken. Humanity had not just proved itself on the galactic stage, it had helped reshape that stage entirely. And in doing so, it had fulfilled its greatest potential, not to conquer, not to dominate, but to transform and unite.